All right, so today's class is our transaction management. It's part five of our essential series. And what we're going to be covering, we're going to be covering two aspects. We're going to be covering transaction desk, which is a very important part of your guys' real estate. It's a program that's built into the MLS's website. And transaction desk is what you use for drafting paperwork, sending e-signings, preparing a listing. It's your bread and butter. And the NWMLS does teach a transaction desk class, and I do recommend also taking that if you have time. They have a part one and part two. But learning the ins and outs of transaction desk is very important because, that's how you make deals. That's how you write your offer. That's how you do your paperwork. And then the second part is going to be more of an internal part, is going through Skyslope, which is our internal system for keeping your paperwork for the DOL purposes. You have to keep your transactions on file, and it's a way for you to communicate with our processors. So transaction desk is going to be what you use before and during a transaction. Skyslope is what you're going to use after mutual to upload your, signed listing paperwork, your signed contracts, so we can have it and abide by the DOL's guidelines. Um, they're two different programs. Skyslope has a lot of other benefits, and I'm pretty sure you can even draft paperwork in there. But I'm going to just go through the process of uploading the paperwork, and then communicating with the processors. And then with Transaction Desk, I'm going to show you how to draft a purchase and sale agreement. And I'm also going to show you how to draft listing paperwork. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. If my screen is I have the worst luck with technology. So if I'm talking about something and you guys see YouTube on my screen, I'm talking about paperwork or something freezes up, please unmute and yell at me and tell me to get back on track. But that tends to happen, and brokers tend to be polite sometimes and just not tell me that I am messing up. So let's share my screen. Come on. Okay, so share. All right, so you should be seeing the MLS's website. Can you give me a thumbs up, Courtney, if that's what you see? Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So just starting from the website, to access, I'm going to open up the few windows. So I'm going to have Transaction Desk open.
Cameron, a quick question.
Yes,
Are,
ma'am.
are we going to get the recording of this Zoom meeting?
Yeah, so the whole point of me recording it so I can upload it to the YouTube page.
Mhm.
Um, and then you'll be able to access it there, or I can just send you the link once it's all uploaded.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, so just starting from the transaction desk page, I'm going to show you guys how to organize your dashboard. So, it's your own preference of how you want things to be organized. Mine's going to look a little bit different, just because I have a manager's account. So you guys aren't going to have this impersonated agent, and you're not going to see everyone else's transactions. You're probably just going to see your transactions, and then you can add stuff. So to modify that, you're going to click on this lock unlock. Um, and then what I would probably have there would be the transactions, and then you can even put like a quick to signings, or you can put like a task manager, whatever you would like on that page, and just modify. You can move this stuff around. But the two things I mainly use are going to be create a transaction and start signing. Um, but there's a variety of other tools. You can add contacts. You can look up expireds, templates. So I haven't really gone too far into depth with all those other tools, but if you do take the Transaction Desk 2 class, that will be covered. So yeah, and then on this sidebar, so this speedometer is going to be the link to your dashboard. So that's the main page where you'll see all your transactions, and everything else that you put on there. This is a direct link to just your transactions. This will be a direct link to all of your past signings. And then if you want to just do individual forms, so if you need like a quick form, you don't want to set up a transaction, you can click on forms, and then go to here and just pick which form, draft it, and then send it for signing if you don't want to have to create a whole transaction for it. Documents, so if you save any documents like external documents, so if you have something that you want to upload to here so you have it saved, you can do that as well. Beyond that, tasks I don't really I've never really used, but I'm sure there's some benefits to it. Um, Broker tools, so if you want to do reports, transaction transfer, this is might be stuff that you guys might not have access to, so I'll kind of just stop there and go back to the dashboard. All right, so I'm going to start by creating a transaction, and we'll start with an offer. Um, oh, Maggie got pushed out. Are you back? Okay.
I
Um,
moved to my laptop. That's me again.
oh, it's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Welcome back. Does anyone have a property that they might be writing an offer on? No? Well, let's go find one. Let's go find a new listing. Let's go see what's on the market today. All right, let's look at this condo in Kirkland. All right, that's just my kind of price point. Kirkland condo for 1.4. I can't afford that. I'm just joking. All right. So there's two ways to set up the transaction. You can do it from here on the dashboard, and which is how I'll show you. Um, you can also, from the listing right here, click on this button that says Transaction Desk, and I'll show you both. So if you click on this, it'll take you directly to Transaction Desk. And it'll set up the transaction for you. So it'll know all the identifiers. It'll know the MLS number, it'll know the property address, it'll pull the tax ID. Um, Also, if you want to do it from dashboard, so you can go to create transaction, and then you can give it the name, and the name is just for you to recognize it by. So don't overthink it. Just whatever you're going to be able to remember the name. Your clients aren't going to see this. No one's going to see this. So if you want us write offer for Mr. Butthead or whatever, he's not going to see it. If your client's a jerk, write offer for jerk. That's fine. Um, Templates. So templates are these are what the MLS has put together as like what they think the general forms would be for a condominium offer. I don't like using the templates because it generates a bunch of extra forms that I don't need. I just like to add my own. But if you want, you can actually build your own templates so you have something built out so you don't have to add them. But also, it doesn't take very long to add the forms, and every transaction is different. So I just like to not use templates. Type, this is a condo, so it'll be condominium sale. But you have to look through the types. There's so many different types of business opportunity, commercial, condo, manufactured home, residential. Um, if you do the quick shortcut button that I showed you guys, it will know which kind of type it is. But if you're doing it this way, you'll have to go and pick it. So it's a condominium sale. Um,
Cameron,
and then we'll write offer.
while you're doing that, a quick question. If
Yes.
we go on MLS and we click on writing an offer, it will automatically pull out the forms that needs to be filled out.
If you pick a template, it will, but it'll still be that like the long list that you might not want a bunch of forms. Um, I highly recommend just adding the forms that you know that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'll show you a few ways to figure out which forms you need. That will be covered in our purchase and sale agreement, our Skyline Essentials Part 1 class. Eric does a good job of giving you an idea of like which forms to use for which kind of transaction, but I can kind of go over it with you guys as well. Um, so I picked condominium sale and source. I'm going to pick from Matrix because that way it'll pull all the data from this listing. So it'll know like the address, it'll know who the seller is, it'll know who the listing broker is. So I want to do from Matrix. Um, so let's go back. So we'll pick Matrix. It's a single family, and then it wants to know the MLS number. So I'll just copy the MLS number and I will embed it in here. All right. And then it asked you to add me as I'd be the buyer's broker. And then Wizard, I like to have this checked because Wizard is what auto populates everything for you. So you don't have to go back. Like if you put the buyer's name on one page, it'll auto populate it on every page. Or if you put the address on one page, it'll auto populate on every page. You don't have to type it in on every single one. So I almost always have use wizard checked. Click create. All right. So let me move this Zoom toolbar because it's blocking my view. Okay, so right here, I have all the information I need. It pulled the seller's information, it pulled the MLS number, it knows the property address information, condo, parking space, all that. It knows the listing price, and then you have to fill out the stuff that applies to your offer. Um, so compensation type, it used to fill it out for you. Oh, it fills out the seller's offer, if any. You also have to fill out the seller to be paid by seller. I'm sure you guys have seen like the 20 emails from Eric and well, you guys are new, but for you have that been here for at least the past month. It's important to fill out both lines, the seller's offer, if any, and amount to be paid by seller. So I'll fill that out. I'll fill out the purchase price. So if my client's offering, so it's 1.389, what if my client's offering 1.3? I'll put that in. And then don't worry about comments and everything else is auto-populated. And then I click next. Don't click save and exit because it's going to take you out and then you're gonna miss this whole process. I always click next. So purchase and sale agreement date. If I'm putting the offer in today, I'd put it as today. Expiration, maybe I'll give them until tomorrow to offer, so I'll put it as Friday the 10th. There's no mutual acceptance date because you're not mutually accepted upon, so just skip that. Closing date, so let's say I want to close in let's say 3 weeks. So 3 weeks, and then possession date. So if they're getting possession on closing, then I'll just leave this. If they're doing like maybe a rent back, you can modify this to have it be a different date. Um, Everything doesn't have to be filled out, just the things that apply to your transaction. Okay. So on the listing side, half the stuff doesn't apply. So don't be worried because something's empty. Just the stuff that applies needs to be filled out. All right. So next will be the contacts. So it knows that I'm the buyer's broker. It knows all the seller side. So it knows who the seller is, listing firm, my buyer's brokerage, and the listing broker. So now I need to add my buyers. Um, so to add the buyers, there's a few ways to do it. If you have your buyers in your contact list, you can just go to add existing contact and pull them up. If they're not in your contact list, you'll go to create a new transaction contact. So I'll identify them as the buyer. And then I'll put their name in, Mr. Jerk. And then if you put their email, it'll be easier because then you can just do the DocuSign. So Mr. Jerk at gmail.com. But I'm actually going to put my email so I can show you guys how I do the signing and how it's accepted. How it's accepted and signed. So I'll put my email, properties.com. Okay, and then I will press save. Okay, and then we'll go next. And now I can add the forms. So I'll click on this add button, and there'll be a few categories. So there'll be all forms, there'll be company forms, there'll be, then they're broken down into subdivisions. I usually just click on all forms. And then I click the forms I need. So obviously I need the condominium purchase and sale agreement. And then if I scroll down, oh, at this point, I'll go and look and see um, what supplements the listing broker have already provided. So I don't provide the same ones that they already have, like the utilities addendum or FERPTA, or so I see that they have a legal description, a seller disclosure. They don't have a utilities, so I'd have to add that. And they have the FERPTA. So sometimes they'll have the utilities as well. This one doesn't have it. So now I know that I have to add the utilities. So, client is financing. Let's say they have a loan, so I'm gonna do the financing addendum, maybe the optional clause. The FERPTA is already provided, so I don't need to worry about that. Um, Property was built. Let's see when it was built. I'm guessing after 1978. Yeah, so 1981. So I don't need a lead-based paint. I need the utilities, and then my client wants to do an inspection, so I'll include the Form 35 inspection addendum. Bam. So all my forms are there. And then I click next. So this page, the documents page, are going to be all those supplements. So it pulls the supplements from the listing. So it has the seller disclosure, the legal, the FERPTA, and the seller inspection disclosure. So all the ones that the listing broker has uploaded are going to show up here in the documents category. And then I click done. All right. So now I'm going to go through and fill out all my forms. Let's just say I start with the form 28. So I'll click on that. And I'll just go through and fill out all the stuff that's not filled out. So I'll start checking the boxes, checking the appliances, and I'll just go line by line and fill everything out. Make sure to fill out the earnest money, make sure these are all checked, and just fill out all the things that are blank. Once I have that filled out, I can click the X button, and it automatically saves it and takes you back to your dashboard. And then I'll move on to the next form. And just go through and fill that one out. Let's go back. Let's say I realized that I actually forgot a form. So then I can check on this plus box and go back and add forms. So I can go back and let's say my client decided that they want optional clause. So they want an optional clause. So I'll add the optional clause. All right, let's say my client is, or maybe I decided I don't want a form. So I'll go to forms and then I can say, okay, he doesn't want the optional clause. He changed his mind. And I can click on these three buttons and I can go down and delete it. All right, and then I'll go back to my dashboard. Let's say I want to save one of these forms externally, right? So I want to save it as a PDF on my computer. So I can click on this form. Oh, what's going on? Why are you doing that to me? Okay. And then I can go to the save button and I can click save as a PDF, and that'll download me a copy of the form and I can save it to my computer. Um, Couple other things on this page if you want to change the size of the text, if you want to pull up more forms, if you want to quick jump to each page, if you want to zoom in, zoom out. This one's I use sometimes. So if you're done with all your forms and you want to click, so send it straight to Authentisign, you can click on this one and then it'll take the transaction and it'll send it straight to Authentisign. All right, so now I got all my forms filled out. Do you have any questions about the dashboard and filling out the forms?
No, you're doing great.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, next I'm going to show you how to send this for signing. So I have my offer all drafted. Oh, same thing with this page. If you want to move things around, so you just click on this. So like I like having this, I like having the overview. This is just how I like it. The overview, the forms, the supplements, and then I like to have the shortcut button to Authentisign to send it for signing. So you can modify stuff. And then this is going to show you any of the signings that you've done from this transaction. So you can have a quick shortcut to pull those up. So you can move your dashboard around and set it up however you like it. There's an uploads button, email, however you like it. But these are the ones that I use the most often. So, and I don't like too much stuff on there. So this is how I set up my page. Okay, so now I want to send it for signing. There's two ways to do it. So the easiest way is to do this button, but I'm going to show you the more difficult way, just so you know, just in case you want to try the other way. So this one would just automatically send it to signing. It would recognize that it's the transaction. It would pull all the forms. But let's say I want to do it from here. So I can click on Start Signing and then I can give it a name. So offer for Mr. Jerk. This one, I would say maybe don't include the Mr. Jerk because I think he does see that. So offer for Mr. Awesome is what we'll change it to. Um, I think it does show up on the signing. So maybe we should have something a little bit more respectful on this one. And then add to transaction. I'll find the transaction and then I'll click on it and click on save. And then click save, and then it'll take me to the signing. All right, so now I'm here on the signing. So I need to start with adding my signers. So I click on, so from the top right here, signers, and then you click on add participants. Since I've already added Mr. Jerk's name and email, I can just go to add from transaction, and then he'll be right here. If I need to sign a form, I can add myself, but I don't think I need to sign anything on this because it's all just for the buyer. So then I would just go to add from transaction, add Mr. Jerk. I need to move this Skype toolbar so I can see everything, or Zoom toolbar. And then I click on select. Okay, so I have my signer here, ready to go. Now I need to add my documents. So I click on docs, and there's a few ways to add documents. So this is gonna pull all the ones that were already there. I think we have a question. Oh, Marina, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. So, what is the secret sauce here using a signing second one or just click the signing pen and send it automatically? What's the plus?
Oh,
What's
I would say the just setting it automatically saves you two steps. It'll save you a whole minute and a half. So I just usually just click the pen, but I wanted to show you guys both ways to do it, just in case. But if you're in your dashboard and you have the transaction, I would say just send it from signing. It's both gonna have the same outcome. It's just one eliminates two steps of going back to the dashboard, uh, clicking on create signing, and then linking it to the transaction. That's it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep. So now I'm gonna start adding my transactions. Um, I mean my forms, sorry. So I'll start with the ones that I've already put in there. So you can just click on add. And the top of the list is going to be the forms that you added yourself personally and modified. And then lower in the list, you'll see all the supplements. So you'll see the supplements that were in the dashboard there. So I'll just start adding all the ones I need. I need the financing. I need the 22K. I need the form 35. I need the form 22. I need the legal 17. I don't need the title. I do need the FERPTA, and I don't need this seller inspection disclosure. I'm not even sure what that is. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm just not going to add it. Now I like to organize my forms so they're all in numerical order. So always first comes the purchase and sale agreement. I always have that as my first form. And then I like to just go down as, in numerical order. So I put 22A, 22D, and the way you move them, you can either change the number. So if I want this one to move to third position, I can click third. Oh, where'd it go? Third, and it moves to third. Or you can just manually click on it, move it around to where you want to put it. So you have both options. If you want to, let's say I want to delete a form, I say, oh, I decided I don't want the 22D. I can click on it and I can remove it or I can replace it. Um, but I'm going to keep those for now. So I put everything in numerical order. The 22E will go up after the D, 22D, EK, 35, legal, and 17. Let's say I want to add a form that's saved to my desktop, that's not in the transaction. I can go to add from forms and then I can upload and then I can either drag and drop or click right here. And if I want to add, like, let's say I want to add this materials list, I can go and add the materials list. So it's at the end of the contract, right? So it's a form externally. I can add that as well. Let's delete that. Okay, next we move on to our tools. So the forms that you added in Transaction Desk yourself, not the supplements, it always recognizes where the signings go. Sometimes it even recognizes where the signings go on the supplements. Sometimes it doesn't. So if it doesn't, you need to manually add the signings to those forms, like signatures, initials, and then you also need to add the buyer's name and the date to the top of those forms. So let's start from the top. Let's start from the form 28. So this one I already filled out, so it has everything. It knows that the signing goes there for buyer. Let's say there's maybe three buyers. So you need to manually add the third buyer signature right there. Or you'd have to have an extra supplement form that says, there's three buyers, third buyer agrees to all terms and conditions. And then I'll just keep scrolling down. Let's say I want to make a modification to a form. So like I want to delete. Let's say I want to cross something out. So let's say I'm responding to an offer and I want to make a adjustment to the price. This would probably be like on a counter offer. I can take this line, I can cross it out, and then I can add an initial right here. Okay. And then if I want to change the size of it, I can go like this. I can do right here too. Scale, change it. Let's say I want to delete the date stamp. I can delete it. If I want to add it, I can add it back. I can change it to a timestamp. Whenever I want to do. So let's go back. Let's delete this, and this. You can also, I'll show you some more tools once we get through it. So let's go down and look at things that I still need to fill out. The financing should all be, it should know all of the initials because that's a form that I added. Um, Financing optional clause I added, so it should know all the signing spots. FERPTA I don't need to sign, but let's say I needed to sign the FERPTA. So I would just take the Mr. Jerk's signature and I would put it right here. What you do is so like you can't see my keyboard, but I bring my mouse to over it and then I click and hold and I drag it to where it needs to go. You can also double click, but then it's going to just drop it. Oh, I triple clicked. And it's going to just drop it somewhere. So I like to click here, hold down the cursor or hold down it, and then drag it to where it needs to go. Move the date stamp to where it needs to go. Let's say they were missing a name. So like, for instance, let's go back to a form that has the name at the buyer at the top. Let's say the buyer's name because it was a supplement. This one doesn't have any supplements that needs the date and the buyer's name to be added. So let's say I was missing their name. I could just take this full name stamp and add it to right here. Or you can also do a text box. So if you want to add any verbiage, uh, down here is all the different tools. So text box. And if I wanted to add Mr. Jerk's name there, I could do that. Same with the date. So if it's missing the date, I can add the date stamp as well. Um, all right. Okay. So these are all correct. It's all filled out. The 22K has its initials. The 35 also has all of its initials. And then they need to initial the legal description. So I'll take the initials, drag and drop. And then I'll move on to the next one. So the seller disclosure, they're going to need to sign the last page. All right, so it knows that it needs to sign line one. It understands that, but if they need to sign line two as well, you can just drag and drop and then move the date. And then I'm all done. Yeah, a few other tools, like if you want to highlight something, the strike through, I usually just use a line. The text box I use a lot. So like I showed you, if you want to add verbiage to anything, the full name is nice for the supplemental forms. The auto date, I don't use the auto date as much because it only, so it stamps the date. So let's say it's asking for what your purchase and sale agreement date is, and you put the auto date where that goes, it'll stamp it once they sign it. So that might be a day after what the purchase and sale agreement date is. So I just use the text box and then like let's say the purchase and sale agreement date is today. So I'll just put 1/9/2005 to 25. Um, but yeah. So yeah, so double, triple check everything. I like to go through it once or twice, check every line, make sure everything's filled out. Obviously, mine's not filled out for the sake of time, but that's typically my process. I feel like you always make mistakes if you don't go through and check it once, twice, however many times you need to just make sure that everything looks correct before you send it off. Um, all right. Do you guys have any questions before I send it off?
When is the transaction coordinator kicks in the picture?
Once you go mutual.
Okay. And
Once you go mutual
there
or
is
you have.
something thing they will point it out that will need a signature in some documents.
Yes, yeah. So pre-mutual or pre-active listing, your resource is going to be me or any of the other branch managers. So, and we can see all of your transactions in transaction desk. So if you need one of us to like hop in there and look over the transaction, just call one of us, text one of us and say, "Hey, I have a transaction. It's this address. Do you mind getting in there and reviewing um before I send for signing. Also, you can add one of us as a reviewer. So if you go back to contacts, so if you want to just do a practice and send it as one of us being a reviewer, so you can go add new, and then you can put the name, put everything, and then you can put them as, there should be a signer. Am I missing it? Add participants, add from contacts, add new, add yourself. Why doesn't it allow you to do a reviewer?
I think because we are in the signing, if we were in the MLS writing offer,
No, it should be here. It might not allow me because I'm a manager. So I might not have that capability, but you guys should have an option for add reviewer. Um, that's weird. I'll look into that, but you should have a spot for reviewer. Also, the same thing, like if you just call us and say, hop into my transaction desk, we can hop in there and take a look at it. Okay, so now I'm ready to send this for signing. So I'll click on next. And then, so this is where you can set an expiration date. It automatically gives you like a 1 month expiration date. So I just kind of leave it as is. But if you want to set up where you can send them reminders, so if you want to send them a reminder like every day, if you have a client who's like not responsive, you could set up, a daily reminder so they get an email, please sign this, please sign this, please sign this. But for the most part, clients will just get it signed. Um, okay. And then you can customize the email. So it shows remote signer, Mr. Jerk, and then it says, hi there, please sign and let me know if you have any questions. Okay. And then I can press save and I can press send. Perfect. So now I've sent it off to them for signing. And so this is what it's going to look like from your buyer's perspective. So they're going to get an email. Save this for later, sorry. They're going to get an email. Sometimes can take a second. There it is. So it says your signature is requested. Hello, Mr. Jerk. And yes, you should, on the signing, please make sure to write the right a name because it does show up. So don't put it for offer for Mr. Jerk in case you don't like your client. And then click on start signing. And then click on I accept. And then they can go through and just click start and it takes them to each one. They can change their signature if they want. You can set signature and then they can click through and sign each one. Perfect. So now the signing is completed. And then you, as a broker, will receive two emails. So you'll receive a first email that'll say your client has signed. Just a second. Okay, so this is an update that the signing has gone through. If there's multiple signers, you'll receive one update for each client. And then you'll receive, once it's completed, you'll receive this email that's about to come in that says, Come on. Well, it should have an email that says completed document, and here it will have the full document, and then it'll have each page. There's another place that you can go to find that signing. So if I go back, sorry, close this. So I go back to my dashboard and I click on this button. The signing will be there and it'll show me one of one completed. So I can click on it. And then you'll have a link to, so down here to show who your participants are. And then it'll have the individual forms. So you can download the individual forms. And then also you can download the full completed PDF. So you can download each form individually, or if you want to just all in one, you can download the whole PDF. Let's say there was two signers and one had signed and one had not. The status would look, let me see if I have one that's incomplete. Okay, so like look at this one. So it'll show, okay, this person has not, it doesn't have a check mark next to it. This person has signed. So if I want to resend it to them, I can resend to unsigned participants. If I want to make changes to the signing, I can click on reset. If I want to duplicate the signing, I can duplicate. So yeah, if you ever have a sign that's just kind of sitting and you want to resend it, or they said they didn't receive it, you can go and resend it before it's completely signed. Once it's completely signed, you have the final document. Let me see if that email popped up yet. Oh, there we go. Signing complete. And then right here, you'll have a full contract. And then right here, you can download each individual contract, individual form. If I'm taking an offer, I just want one PDF. I'll download it in one complete. One complete. Okay, let's go back. All right, so we have the signing. Let's say we sent in our offer, everything got accepted. What's next, right? I usually, let me show before you send the offer. So the way I like to save things onto my computer, if you look, and you guys might have a different way of organizing your life and your documents, but this is how I kind of have mine saved. I have a clients folder with all my clients, so you'll see all my clients' names. So like if it's an offer, like listings are different. Listing will have each individual form saved. So you'll see like, everything individually. But if I'm doing an offer, like for instance, I did an offer yesterday for a client and I got it accepted. Let's go pull up their file. So I'll make a file for each name, right here. And so here's my initial offer. Here's the mutual
Your
acceptance.
screen, Cameron.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Here, I'm just gonna share my whole screen. I'm sorry about that. Do you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. You probably didn't see the email one too, so let me just show you that then. So this is what the email looks like. You'll have each individual one, and then you'll have the main signed document right here. Do you guys see that? Okay. Okay, where was I? So that's how I have it saved, so I can easily email it off to the seller. Let's say my offer came back, it's gotten fully accepted, and now I want to upload everything to Skyslope, which is Skyslope is our internal program. If you didn't receive your username and password, you can email, and I'll put her email in there, Tracy P at skylineproperties.com. She's our processing manager. and ask her to resend your Skyslope invitation email, and then you can set up your account. Um, that's her email right there. So now I'm going to go into Skyslope, and once I'm mutual, I need to get everything uploaded. We ask within 2 business days, to be honest, would be best to get everything uploaded. And there's 2 options. You can either upload it yourself or you can just email it to uploaddocs@skylineproperties.com. It's a $30 fee, but if you don't want to deal with like the process of uploading it yourself, you can always just do that. So let me log in. Okay, so I'm in my account. And right here, I'll see all of so if I have other transactions, like if I have past transactions, you'll see your listings, you'll see your active transactions, you'll see the closed ones, you'll see your pending, and you'll see your expireds. So I'm actually going to create a transaction. So right here, I can go to create new transaction, and representation type will be purchase. And then I'll put under contract. And then I'd have to put the property address, which is going to be okay. And then you can put the MLS number so it can identify that. And all the optional stuff, you don't have to fill out everything. File ID, don't worry about that. Let me put the unit number. Unit number was 27. Okay. And then optional stuff, I usually just kind of skip it. The processors can fill all that stuff out for you. So I click on continue. Oh, it wants to know county, so it'll be King County. Checklist type, I forgot that. So it'll be pending condominium. And then I'm not worried about the rest of the stuff. Purchase price, I think we agreed to 1.3 million. Contract acceptance date, if they accept it today. Closing date, what did we put for our closing date? Is the wrong contract. Let me pull the contract up. Okay, so closing date we put for the 31st. So let's go back and put 31st. Okay, and then I'm not really worried about the other optional stuff. Okay, so buyers, it will need to know your buyer's name, so we put Mr. Jerk. Not worried about the other stuff. If there's 2 buyers, you'll need to add another buyer. So you can just click on add another buyer and then add them. And then it does need to know the seller's name because it's not able to pull that information. So you'll need to go to the offer and then pull. So we'll just put Carol E. Looning. Carol. And you can click on continue. Listing agent, don't worry about that. Buyer's agent, it knows it's you. Continue. And then if you want to, add escrow so it automatically uploads to escrow, you can do that. Add title, you can add all that information. There's probably so many different tricks that you can use with this program. And to be honest, my goal is just to use it for abiding by the Department of Licensing guidelines and making sure that processing doesn't get mad at me and yell at me. So, but if you guys, there's classes, there's support, there's videos. I'm sure there's a lot of additional neat tools. Did escrow or Style get started? So if you want to automatically set things up, you can do that, but I don't use all that stuff. Um, Loan officer, yes. So you just ask who's the loan officer. Um, I can put like movement mortgage. Oh, no, it's movement. Okay.
Cameron, so this information is for transaction coordinator or for DOL or both?
So it's for the transaction coordinator, but the Department of Licensing ever audits us, they need access to this program.
I see.
So, and we don't get audited very often. We keep our, our files pretty clean, so they don't audit us. But if they do audit us, they're going to take access to Skyslope and then review your transactions. And if you're missing forms or addendums, or if things don't look correct, um, they will fine you. So just ask a bunch of questions. Typically, the answer is no. Commission, if you want to put in your commission so it knows what your commission is, you can do that. You can continue. And then if there's additional information, you can fill this all out, but I just kind of skip through it and just click create. All right, so now I need to upload my paperwork. There's two ways to do that, and you're going to scroll down here, you're going to see this task list. So there's a lot of forms that are asked for. Not everything is required. I would stick to these like required. And once the processors go through and process your transaction, you'll have a better idea of what things they actually need. So we're required to ask for all of your like communications and text messages, but that's no one's going to upload that stuff. I never do. I never will. Um, but once they actually process it, then they'll go through and actually give you like a checklist of things. So the things I want to start out with, I'm going to start out with just uploading my purchase and sale agreement. So I'll just go to purchase and sale and all include addenda. I'll just click on attach. Go to upload docs. I'll find the offer. I don't think I saved it. I'll just do this offer. It's fine. I'll find the offer and then I'll upload it. And then it'll go into pending status. Once the processors go through and they'll go and put it into the right spots for you. So it goes into all the different categories it needs to. If you want to put it in the categories yourself, you can go to documents and you can go to upload documents. And then I can click on mutual acceptance. And then I can go to split. And then it'll split it into each category it needs to go to. So it knows most of them. This one should be legal description. So you can go to legal and then click legal. And you go split and assign. All right, so it assigns it to each category it needs to go into. Yeah, and then you can go back to the checklist. So let's say I'll show you kind of what a transaction that has been processed looks like. So this is just all in review required. That's because the processors haven't reviewed it yet. Once it does get reviewed, it'll look like so let's open up this one. This is a listing of mine. You go to checklist. So don't be like me, don't have incomplete items, don't have all this stuff that needs to be done. But if there's something incomplete or something that's required, they're going to have it incomplete and have information that needs. So they'll put like notes in there. If you want to respond to them, you can type something in here and save, or you can pick up the phone and call Tracy or any of them um, to go over what is needed with them. Don't hesitate on calling our processors. They're there for you. They're another resource. Um, yeah. And the listing process is pretty similar. So if we go home, how are you guys doing, by the way? Do you want a few minute break or should we keep going? We probably have like another half an hour of material, maybe 45 minutes, depending on our questions. Do you guys want to take a 5 minute break or do you want to push through?
Cameron, I gotta step another Zoom with Mayan. If you record this, I will appreciate if you get the recording.
Sounds good. I'll record it for you and I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Nice
You're
meeting you.
welcome. Yep. Have a good meeting. Courtney, you want a quick break or you want to keep going?
I'm good to keep going. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll keep pushing through. Maggie, you with me?
Yeah. Keep going, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We'll be able to finish in about 30 minutes.
Okay.
So we don't, we're doing well. We're doing good time. Okay. So I showed you guys how to create a transaction. Now I'm going to show you to do a listing. Process is almost exactly the same. There's a few differences. So I'm going to go back and show you from transaction desk. Let's go and create a transaction. So I'm going to create a listing. And no questions about Skyslope and how to upload the docs.
I had a question about once you're done uploading the docs into Skyslope, I kind of missed a step there. Do the transaction coordinators get notified automatically on their end in some queue that, okay, Courtney Jackson uploaded these docs into Skyslope. Now it's time to review. I don't have to initiate that.
No, correct. Yeah. So within 48 hours, we ask that you upload the docs and then it'll go into this pending. Let's go back. Let's go back to active. Where is it? Where's the one that I just did? I think pending. Oh yeah, it should be in pending. Yes. Okay. So it'll show as checklist. It'll show as in review. Once it's approved, um, it'll change to like I think a green thing that says complete or approved, and then it'll have the completed at the top, and then it'll have like a few other required odd items at the bottom. So like your earnest money receipt, you're not going to have right off of Mutual. It's something that you receive like 5 days after Mutual, or like a septic inspection, or even your commission disbursement, something that you do like mid-transaction once you get past the inspection. So those will just sit and show as required until you upload them. But everything that gets reviewed and gets approved will show as completed at the top and like with a green button next to it. But until they review it, it's just going to show as in review status. Good question. Okay, let's go back and go over creating a listing. So the process is almost exactly the same. There's a few differences, and I think the main differences are going to be in the setup process. So I'm just going to go over that. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. I showed you guys how to do the signing, and I showed you guys how to kind of navigate. I'm going to show you the differences with a listing versus an offer. So let's say after I bought Mr. Jerk his condo, he wants me to sell his house. So we'll do a listing for Mr. Jerk. And then same thing, I don't pick a template because I don't want all those other additional forms. And then type is going to be a residential listing. And then instead of source, because there's no active listing, like with an offer, you wanted to pull from what the information is in the input because it's there. There's no active listing. So to pull the information, I want to pull it from Realist instead of Matrix. And then it's going to ask me for the tax ID number. So I'm just going to use my address. So let's go and look up my address. 12719 Southeast 63rd Street. All right, so this is my property, and we will take this tax ID and we will copy it and we will put it into this JK, I can spell, and put the tax ID right here. And then I will click create. So really that's the main difference. As you fill this stuff, some of this stuff may not apply. Like, we could put the listing price. So let's say we want to list at 1.1 million. We'll put that. You can, the compensation type it won't know, so you can, offer by 2.5%. But pretty much the main difference is the way you set it up, which is I just showed you guys that. This one you'll only have list date and list expiration date, so you'll fill out those two. There won't be any buyers, so it'll know who the seller is because it'll pull it from the tax records. So it'll know who your seller is. You'll just have to add their email. And then we'll click on next. Forms, you're just gonna have to add the forms that are listing forms instead of the forms for offering. So putting an offer in. So we'll go to all forms, and so I'll do the main ones, the listing input sheet, the listing agreement, and then we'll go down to, let's say, the form 17. I like to have the FERPTA and the utilities. All right, so I'll click on add, and then all my forms are there. You won't see anything in the documents page because there's no supplements, right? It's a listing that's not on the market. All right, so then once I have, let's say I go through, I fill everything out, I send it to my client for signing, and I'm ready to start inputting the listing. I'll show you one other neat tool for the listing side. So once I have everything signed, and let's say I want to input it, and the input sheet is what you use to input a listing. It's the form that puts all the details about the listing and gets it authorized and signed by the seller. So once I have that all filled out and signed, then I have two options. So you could go back and manually re-input everything, but you don't need to do that in Matrix. So you go to this input tab and you could go and manually input everything, or you can just come back to here, and right here is the upload listing button. And you just click on upload listing and it automatically sends all the information to input and puts it in there as an inactive listing. So that way you don't have to repeat the process of inputting all that information. It just saves you some time. You can also email the listing input form to listinginput@nwmls.com, and they can do it for you, but there's no point. You can just click on this button and do it yourself, and it's already all there. And then once it's there, you can add the photos, supplements, all that. Yeah. Do we have any questions about the difference between doing a offer and transaction desk versus a listing? No? Okay. Let's go to Skyslope really quick, and then I can show you the differences there, and then you guys can go enjoy this beautiful day. I don't know if is it still beautiful? Yeah, it still is. Still is nice. Okay. All right. So as for um, uploading a transaction, I mean a listing, the process is pretty similar. Um, so you just do create new. So you could do listing or transaction, and you can view all your listings here. So if you want to break it up and just look at listings, you can click right here, and then all your listings will be there, your expireds and your actives. Um, and if you want to create one, let's do that as well. So enter the listing. You can do address. I typically do address lookup. So to elevate your workflow. I have not used this new program, but I might have to look into that for future classes, the Skyslope forms. So then put in the address, and if it's an active listing, it'll be able to pull all the information from the MLS, but because mine is not active, um, I'll probably have to manually put everything in. And if you have a co-agent, you can add your co-agent here. I'm listing tomorrow. Expiration date, I like to put 6 months, 2, 4, 5, 6. If you want to add other sellers, you can do that right there. So if you want to have your escrow contact, so they have like access, or if you need to send them, open title, you can do that from right here. I don't use the tool. I'm sure it's a neat tool. I'm sure it has a lot of cool aspects to it. But once again, I don't, I just email escrow and title myself and get everything set up. So, yeah, so then you review, does everything look right? Create my listing. Bam. And then it's there. And then the upload of documents process is exactly the same. You just go through and you can, honestly, the processors don't mind splitting everything up for you. So if you just want to just put everything in one category, and once they get there, they'll break it up for you. Or if you want to be, make it easier on them, you can always go to the documents and you can split it up and it assign it to which category it goes to. Once you get mutual, so if you have a listing, once you get mutual, you don't have to go back and create a different transaction. All you have to do is click on this accepted contract button, and then it'll create the transaction and link it to the listing so you don't have two separate ones. You just click right here, accepted contract, and then it splits it up into two different ones and actually well, it puts it together so you don't have to go back and redo the steps. Yeah, that that should be it. Um, yeah, and they have a great support. Like if you ever want to reach out to them and ask questions or ask about all the extra tools, Skyslope has a bunch of different classes. They have good customer service. Also, you can come to your managers. We're here for you to help you through the program, through anything, transaction desk. Um, but yeah, as many times as you guys need to take this class, to take the transaction desk, I highly recommend taking transaction desk part 1 and part 2. That's kind of your bread and butter. The Skyslope program, it can be very simple, or if you want to learn all the extra bells and whistles, it can be complex. So it just depends on how you want to set it up. If you don't want to deal with it at all, you can just email everything to upload docs at Skyline Properties, and our processors will take care of it for you, so you don't have to worry about it. It does cost $35, but it might be worth your time. So yeah, you have options. Do we have any questions? Anything else you'd like me to review?
Yeah, I had a question about me, myself, and let's see. Why do you put the forms in numerical order for signing for the Authenta sign? So you had, is that just
It's just
preference, or is there a reasoning behind it?
just aesthetics. Just it looks more professional. It's all
Yeah.
numerical. It doesn't change your contract in any way, shape, or form. It's just if you work with once you work with like a broker who's been in the business, they typically always have everything in numerical order, have it organized, and that's just how it flows. It's easier to read, but it makes no difference contractually at all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maggie, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a small question. If you clicked accepted the contract here, do you still need to change the data in matrix also
Yes.
at the same
Great
time?
question.
So, yeah, it's not connected or it is connected.
No, these two programs are in no way interconnected. They're two
Yeah,
different
that what I
programs. Yeah, they're two different purposes. I'm sure there's might be a way to interconnect them, but I don't think so. And great question. If you do accept a contract, you do need to go back to matrix and into input and then change the status from active to pending.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So that's basically we need to do twice. If I listed one property, I need to do twice. One is in the skyline and one is in the matrix,
Uh,
the same property.
you mean just for changing the status?
For list, for the whole process.
You don't have to come here and upload I mean, for listing input, yes, you have to go and list everything into the matrix. But if you don't want to come through and upload all the docs to transaction into Skyslope, you can just email them in, or it's just all you have to do is just upload them so we have them on file. You don't have to repeat the whole process again. You're not doing everything over again. It's just uploading the documents so we have them on file. That's it.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, you're definitely not doing the same thing twice. This process takes 2 minutes.
Okay.
To upload. It doesn't. Getting a listing ready can take days, weeks, hours. However much. But getting things uploaded to Skyslope shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes tops.
I see.
Any other questions?
Not for now.
All right. Well, yeah, we made great time. This class can go 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on questions and things that people want it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't overthink the process. Skyslope people get stressed out about Skyslope and the DOL, like all those terms sound really scary, auditing and all that. It's not. It's just do your paperwork properly, upload it on time, and we'll take it from there. Don't overthink the process. It's very simple. And then when you're writing your offer, come to one of our 7 managers. We'll help you get the offer written. Also, practice. So let's say you're working with a buyer, they're purchasing a property in Kirkland, they're buying a condo. Start writing some practice offers. Reach out to one of our managers, say, hey, I'm going to start writing some offers on a few subject properties so I can get an idea of how to do it. So once I'm ready, I can just kick butt and write that offer in 5 minutes. practice, practice, practice. Take these classes as many times as you need. Reach out to your managers for support. We're here for you. This stuff's pretty easy. The most important part starting is understanding the forms, which takes a few weeks to learn. Once you get that, transaction desk and the internal stuff, learn that, which is pretty simple. Then you got to learn the people marketing aspect of it, which I still don't completely understand some days. That's something that you never perfect, and you'll continue to grow on. But this stuff, you'll learn it once you have it. It's easy. It'll be like you can do it in your sleep. But yeah, feel free to practice. Feel free to reach out to us for questions. Don't stress about it. If you make mistakes, it's okay. We all make mistakes. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me for the class. Hopefully you learned a few things, and welcome to Skyline. Hopefully I'll get to meet the both of you in person. And don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
guys.
time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.